first shamayasana. Okas vandami bhante dvaratena katam sabam aparadham khamatu me bhante. Dutiyamti okas vandami bhante dvaratena katam sabam aparadham khamatu me bhante. Tatiyamti okas vandami bhante dvaratena katam sabam aparadham khamatu me bhante. Now I will request for Ajivattamagga Shila.
Okay.
Okas aham bhante ti saranena sa Ajivattamagga Shilam dhammam yachami anugaham katva shilam detame bhante. Dutiyamti okas aham bhante ti saranena sa Ajivattamagga Shilam dhammam yachami anugaham katva shilam detame bhante. Tatiyamti okas aham bhante ti saranena sa ajivattamagga shilam dhammam yachami anugaham katva shilam detame bhante.
Yamahang vadami tang vadetha.
Aham bhante.
Namo tassa bhagavato arhato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyamti buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyamti dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyamti sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Saranagamanang sampurnang.
Aham bhante.
Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Panatipata veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Adinadana veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Kame sumichhachara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Kamesu michchachara veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Musavada veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Pisuna vacha veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Visuna vacha veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Parusa vacha veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Parusa vacha veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Samprapalapa veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Sampapalapa veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Micha ajiva veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Michcha ajiva veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Tisaranena saddhing ajivaddhamaka silang dhammang sadhukham surakkithang katva apamadena sampade tabbam.
Ram Bhante, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Like, I will request for Uposat Ashtashil. Okasaham Bhante Ti Saranena Sa Uposata Ashtashilang Dhammang Yachami Anugaham Katva Shilang Detame Bhante Utyanti Okasa Aham Bhante Ti Saranena Sa Ashtashila Uposata Dhammang Yachami Anugaham Katva Shilang Detame Bhante Tatyamti Okasa Aham Bhante Ti Saranena Sa Uposata Ashtashilang Dhammang Yachami Anugam Katva Shilang Detame Bhante.
Iyamahang vadami thang vadeta.
Aham Bhante.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddhang Saranang Gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang Saranang Gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang Saranang Gacchami.
Tutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Ditiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Ditiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami.
Tutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Ditiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami.
Saranaгаmanang sampunnang.
Aham Bhante.
Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Adinnadana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Kamesu abhrahmacharya veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Abrahmacharyacha Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Surameraya majjapama daddhana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Sura Meraya Majjapamadatthana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Vikala bhojana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Vikala Bhojana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Tacca gita vadita visoka dasana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Nacha Gita Vadita Visukha Dasana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Mala gandha vilepana dharana mandana vibhusanattahana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Mala Gandha Vilepana Dharana Mandana Vibhusanatthana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Uccasayana mahasayana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Ujjasena Mahasena Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Tisaranena saddhing uposatat hangasilang dhammang sadhukang surakkitang katva apamadena sampadetabbang.
Aham Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Bhante doing formal request for Dhammadesna.
Okay.
Brahma cha lokadipati sampati Katanjali Andivaram Ayachata Santitta Satta Parakajati Ka Dese Tu Dhammam Anukamping Mangpajang.
My today also overheating maybe
Bhante, no audio. Hello.
closed because of overheating. I think maybe a signal problem, and my phone also old. I think that's why it's closing. Okay.
Okay.
We can expect it will not struck again. Then today, Mr. Who? Mr. Sandeep, no? He asked me
Deepak,
to do the
Deepak sir.
Anattalakkhana Sutta. Deepak, yes. He asked me to do the Anattalakkhana Sutta. So today we can start this Anattalakkhana Sutta. Okay. Samanta Chakravalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajasa Sunantu Saghamukadang Dhammasavana Kalu Ayang Badhanta Dhammasavana Kalu Ayang Badhanta Dhammasavana Kalu Ayang Badhanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Our homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the perfectly self-enlightened One. Rupang bhikkhave anatta, rupang ca hidanatta abhavissa, naidang rupang abhadaya samvatteya. Labbheta ca me rupe evam me rupang hotu, evam me rupang ma ahositi. Dear listeners, subject to the discourse today, Anattalakkhana Sutta, the discourse on the non-self, not self-characteristic characteristics. So, thus I heard on one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Varanasi in the Deer Park at Isipatana. There he addressed the monks of the group of 5 as bhikkhus. Then they replied as, Yes, Lord. Then the Blessed One said like this, Rupang bhikkhave anatta, because the form or the body is not self. Rupancha atta abhavis. That means were the form atta abhavis naidang rupang abhadaya sangvate. That means were the form or were the body self, then this body or the form would not lead to affliction or disease. And again he asked, what is he is telling? Rupam bhikkhave anatta, because this body is not self. Rupam cheta atta abhavisa. Nagidang rupang abhadaya sangvatteya. Were this body is the self, then this body would not lead to affliction or the disease. It need not be trouble to you if this body is your soul or yourself. We can take it as the form, and sometimes it explains as the form, and Sutta Pitaka sometimes it explains the rupa as the body. So for the general idea, it's easy to take as body, and if you think more deeply, you can take it as any form mean the body or the visuals or sounds or the smells, tangibles, and uh, those things. These all things are not self. Yeah, in the similar way, you can take it as the body, the rupang bhikkhave anatta. The body is not self. If this body is the self, it will not cause to affliction. Labhete cha me rupa me rupam hotu, eva me rupa ma hositi. And one could have it have it this body. Let my body be thus. Let my body be not thus. You can't uh, take like that. And since body is not self, so it leads to affliction. And none can have it of body. Let my body be thus. Let my body be not thus. You can't take like this. So the body is not self. Dear ones, we can only have 5 things as ourself. If we think about our soul or our spirit or ourself, we just have 5 things. Those are, those are we call in the Dhamma the 5 clinging aggregates. One is the body, the second one sensations, third one the perceptions, and the volitional activities and mental preparations. Then last one is the cognition, or you can tell it consciousness. Those are the things we can take as ourselves. But Lord Buddha is explaining this body is not self. If this body is the self, it will not cause to affliction. It will not cause to disease or trouble. And you never can have this body to let this body be like this body not be like this. You can't take that, take like that. So the body is not self. Then again, sensations. Vedana anatta, vedana chedang atta bhavis, sensations also. First, for example, we can tell in the body Can you can you have the body like this? Oh, I don't be uh, old. I don't become old. I want to stay at young, stay as like young, and don't my hair uh, become white. I'm be more beautiful than this. You you can never think like that. You can't expect like that. Because why? This body is not yourself. If this body is yourself, if it is in your, under your control, you must have a power to control this, but you haven't. So this body is not yourself. Then the sensations also same. If these sensations are yours, you must have power to control it, but you haven't. You can't expect from this body be like this, let it not be like this. You can't have like that. So the sensations also not yourself. As an example, once you feel some unpleasant sensations while someone blaming you may feel some unpleasant sensation, but you can't expect, you can't control it. Oh, I feel pleasant sensations, or let I don't feel unpleasant sensations. You can't expect like that because sensations are not under your control. Sensations are an effect of a cause. So you can't expect to be like this or let not be like this. So this is the reason. So the sensations also not yourself. After that, the perceptions also. Sanya bhikkhu anatta, the perceptions are not yourself. If the sensations are yourself, it will not cause to affliction. It will not cause to disease. It will not cause to troubling. And you can't expect as let these sense perceptions be like this, let these perceptions not be like this. You can't have like that. So the perception, as an example, once you meet somebody who is your enemy, you can't perceive him as your friend. Sometimes you like to perceive him as your friend, but you can't. You always feel some angry with him, little hatred with him. But if the perceptions are yours, you must have a power to control that perceptions. But the perceptions also not yours. Dear ones, please close your eyes and try to listen while comprehending, while contemplating on these matters from your mind. The perceptions also you can't have like that. But why, how suffering arises? How the suffering arises? But you're thinking, you're expecting those things, those aggregates to be like this, don't be like this. So that's why the suffering arises in your mind. Stress arises in your mind, unless it will not. So that is the way of perceptions. And the volitional activities also. The volitional activities, the intentions or the preparations of the mind, also not self. Always our mind is talking, always talking. But we can't have the mind, uh, the volitional activities to be like this, don't be like that. Once you see someone and once you feel some angry or lust about some person, you like to relinquish that lust to anger, but you can't. Always the lustful thoughts or hateful thoughts arise in your mind. If these volition activities yours, you must have the power to control those volitional activities. But you haven't any power like that. Because why? The volitional activity is also not yours. Those also not self. And contemplate on the cognitions. The cognitions of eye, cognitions of ear, cognitions of nose, tongue, body and mind. These cognitions also. The cognition is the most, consciousness is the most deepest point, because some early Indian sages ha- had understood those body sensations, perceptions, volition activities are not myself, but they all are tangled in consciousness. But they all has thought cognition is mine, cognition is myself. But Lord Buddha explains the cognition also an effect of a cause. You can have a clear explanation from Mahanidana Sutta in Digha Nikaya, long uh, discourses, long length discourses. It explains there's a cycle of name, form, and consciousness, name, form, and cognition. That is the deepest point in the Dhamma. We can explain it later another day. However, the cognition also not self. And can you help to let be consciousness, let this cognition be like this? Don't be like this. You can't have like that. If this cognition is yours, if you like to cognize something beautiful, you must have a power to cognize like that. If this cognition is yours or yourself, once your mother blame you, you can have you must have a power to uh, don't cognize those blamings. But you don't have a power uh, to cognize this, so don't cognize like that. Because why? The cognition is not under your control. The cognition also not self. That is the truth. So again, Lord Buddha asking like this: dear monks, how do you conceive it? Is body permanent or impermanent? Now you ask from your own, is this body permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Lord, they replied. Then now is what is impermanent, painful. Now is what is impermanent, painful or pleasant? They replied, painful, Lord. Then now is what is impermanent, what is painful, since subject to change, fit to be regarded thus, this is mine, this is I, this is myself. They replied, no, my lord. If something impermanent or painful and subject to the change, is it fit to tell like conceive like this as this is mine, no, this is I am, or this is myself? Is it possible? Is it correct? No. There is no any possibility to tell this body as mine or I am or it is myself, because this body is not self. It's not yours. It's not under your control. In the same manner, Lord Buddha is asking about the sensations. Is the sensations permanent or impermanent? Impermanent. Something impermanent, is it painful or pleasant? Painful. If something impermanent, painful, and subject to the change, is it correct to conceive as these sensations are mine, these sensations are I am, and this is myself? Is it correct or not? No, it is not. We can't tell like that because the sensations are not your soul, not yourself. Listen very carefully. In this, from this sutta, the first five monks have uh, attained to the nibbana, to the arahantship from this sutta. So listen very carefully. Then the perceptions also. Perceptions, permanent or impermanent? Impermanent. If something impermanent, it is painful or pleasant? Painful. If something impermanent, painful, and subject to change, is it correct to conceive as this is mine, this is I, this is my soul, self? Is it correct? No, it is not. The perceptions also, not my soul. The volitional activities also say. Is this volitional activities of the mind permanent or impermanent? Impermanent. If something impermanent, is it painful or pleasant? Painful. If something impermanent, painful, and subject to change, is it okay to conceive as this is mine, this is I am, this is my soul, this is myself? It is incorrect. It is not appropriate. So the volitional activity is also not yourself. The cognitions also same. It's those cognitions of the eye, ear, body, and mind. Is these cognitions permanent or impermanent? Impermanent. If something impermanent, is it goes to, it is painful or pleasant? Painful. If something impermanent, painful, can it, and subject to the change, can we tell it as this is mine, this is I, this is my soul, this is myself? We can't. So the cognitions also not yourself. And we can go the next step, the most deepest step. Then Lord Buddha asks us to contemplate like this. How? So, dear monks, any kind of body or form, whatever, whether past, future, or presently arising, whether gross or subtle, whether in oneself or external, whether inferior or superior, whether far or near, must with right understanding how it is be regarded thus. This is not mine, this is not I, this is not myself. Yang kinchi rupang ati tanagata pachupanna achantang wa bahitawa olari kang wasukumang wa yandore santikeva etang rupang netang mama neso hangasmi neso me attati evametang yathabhutang sammapanyaya dattapang. The Lord Buddha has explained like this. Any kind of form, any kind of body, in the if you think about your past body, in your past life, past life mean uh, 2 3 days, 2 3 no, 2 3 years ago, that body, or if you think about, if you conceive about a body in your future, or if you feel the body in present moment, or any other form like sound or something, those all things, what is gross or subtle, or uh, the superior or inferior, near or far, these all things, it is not mine, this is not I, this is not myself. Because those are the 11 ways how our mind can be diluted. We can conceive as present, past, and future, then gross or subtle, then internal, external, then inferior, superior, then near and far. All are 11, 11 ways. So these all 11 ways we must have to understand with right understanding. Those are not, this is not I, this is not mine, this is not I, this is not myself. In each, any times, you may feel this body as a past object, or as the body as the future object, or the object what arises in this very moment as a visual or as a tangible or a thought. You can have an idea about the body. Or if you feel the body as gross, or if you feel the body as subtle or inferior or superior about you or about another person, about a far, about a person who is in the far or the person who is in near, those all kind of uh, which type of object about the body or form what arises to your mind, you must have to contemplate, you must have to understand with right understanding. This is not mine, this is not I, this is not my soul, this is not myself. Because why? It is not under my control. If you need to beyond the suffering what's given by the body, you must have to comprehend the reality of this. The comprehending the reality is, this is not mine, this is not I, this is not myself, because this is not under my control. So once you understand those this way, you will feel very detached. So again, Lord Buddha asking us to contemplate on sensations. Whenever any kind of sensation, whether I in past or future or presently arising, gross or subtle, internal or external, the inferior or superior, or near, far or near, any kind of sensation, You must have to understand with the right understanding. This is not mine. This is not I. This is not myself. The sensations can be arisen about past thing, or if you feel some sensation about future thing as idea, or you can feel some sensations about from this very moment, or you can feel some experience sensations like some gross or sometimes subtle, sometimes some sensations from your body, or sometimes from the other people or other objects, from other objects. Or if you, some sensations will be pleasant, some sensations will be unpleasant, and some sensations arise with the far things, or some things, some sensations arise with the near things. So all type of these sensations you must have to understand. Those are not mine. Not, I am not myself. So after that, the perceptions also. The perceptions also, any kind of perception, whether as in past or future or present moment, then the gross or subtle, the internal or external, inferior or superior, near or far, any kind of perceptions. The perceptions like, oh, Mr. Deepak, Mr. Ravindra, like that way, Lord Buddha, the Bhante or something, you can perceive. These all perceptions because of the cause, because of the addition of I and visual and the consciousness. Again, you feel, if you conceive the duality as the Bhante sound and I, or just visual and my I, like that. So because of that causes, those perceptions arises. Perceptions arise. So that's why you must have to understand these perceptions, the effect of a cause, but this is not mine, this is not I, and this is not myself. Then the volitional activities. Volitional activities also not yourself. You can have any volitional activities about past things or future, or in presently arisen, or some volitional activities are gross, some volitional activities are subtle, some are about you, some are about external, some things about inferior, or some things about superior or far or near, any kind of volitional activity. You must have to understand this is not mine. This is not my self, and this is not I am. Netang mama, neso hamasmi, neso me atta. And finally, the cognition. Any kind of cognition, whatever, whenever past, future, or presently arisen, whether gross or subtle, whether in oneself or external, whether inferior or superior, whether far or near, must, with right understanding how it is, be regarded as this is not mine, this is not I, this is not myself. Because the cognitions can be arise about the past or future things, or the presently arising cognitions, or some cognitions about gross or subtle, far or near, any kind of. But those all cognitions because of causes. In Mahanidana Sutta, it explains the concept of existence arises with a cycle of name, form, and cognition. That means Nama, Rupa, and Vijnana. According to Sutta Pitaka, it explains Nama Rupa in this way. Vedana Sanya Chetana Paso Mansikaro Ayang Uchatauso Namang Chathari ja Mahabhutana Chatunna ja Mahabhutana Upadaya Rupang Idang Uchatauso Rupang Iti Dancha Namang Dancha Rupang Idang Nama Rupa. Sensations, perceptions, intentions, contact, and attention is the name or the naming, the primary accept of naming are those. And the four main elements, what are the four main elements? Solidity, liquidity, temperature, and air. Those things and what arise from this, what have these qualities, those things are the rupa, are the form. Those are the name and form. So Lord Buddha has explained in Mahandana Sutta, there's a form and there's a name. Those are combined with each another. And there's a cycle of name, form, and cognition. That means now you can hear my sound. I can give an example with my sound, how my sound is the form. In your experience, my sound is the form. Then how you understand, how you naming this sound, the primary way is according to the order of your experience. Lord Buddha firstly has mentioned the name, the sensations, not the contact. According to because Sutta Pitaka always focus on our experience, not as a theory. Firstly it says Vedana, the sensation. Once you, as an example, I will tell you this name and form. Now you are watching a TV. So in front of you, there's a hot water glass. So while you watching the TV, you touch this hot water glass. The hot water glass is the reflection of the form. So there's the name. What are the naming? Oh, you feel unpleasant sensation. For that unpleasant sensation, your mind wake up from this unpleasant sensation. Oh, unpleasant. Then perception. Oh, my hand is burning. Then the intention to take out the hand. And there's a contact. There's a contact. How? There's an independent hot water glass. There's independent my body, and there's a independent cognition or independent consciousness or independent a soul, like that way. And there's an attention also. Those are the naming. And what is called contact? Passa. Passa's definition is Tinnang Sangati Passo. Tinnang mean three things. Sangati means, gati mean going, go. Sangati mean, sang mean a prefix about combining, uh, together going. Together going of three things, we can call it as passa, contact. So what are those three things? External, internal, and consciousness, cognition. Once you touch that hot water glass, there's a sensation, perception, intention. Then you, according to the order of your experience, then you feel the contact. Oh, there's a independent hot water glass and my hand and the person who's experiencing the three uh, three aspects, three parts. Now you together going with those three things. Now your mind conceives about independent an independent hot water glass, an independent body, an independent soul, or independent consciousness. So that's what we call a contact. After this contact, there's a attention. Attention is there. That is manasikara. So, however, because of this, now hot water glass and naming. That's what we call name and form, nama rupa. Because of this nama rupa, I told you before, there's a cycle of name, form, and cognition. Because this, because of this name and form mean a cognition. That, I'll tell you it again. The hot water glass and your sensation, perception, intention, contact, and attention, that we call name and form. Name and form mean cognition. Cognition means a reflection of name and form. Name and form means a cognition. What you have to cognize? A name and form. So the name and form mean a cognition. And what is the work of cognition? Again, your mind, your deluded mind, shows you a duality, an independent hot water glass, an independent body. How? Now I'm explaining the cycle of name, form, and cognition. Before you experience that hot water glass, how will you experience that? With the name and form, the hot water glass and naming. So, because of name and form, your experience arises as a cognition, After you experience this cognition, after work of this cognition, it shows you a duality called an independent hot water glass and a person who experiencing. Then because of name and form, conscious cognition arises. And because of cognition, it again shows you a name and form, external form and naming. And again, name and form mean a cognition. And as a work of cognition, it again shows you a duality. Duality mean a cognition. Again, as a work of cognition, it shows you a duality. These preparations, this preparating, we can call as sankhara, independent origination. The preparations. The ignorance of this preparating, we can call it as ignorance, avidya. This is not my explanation. This is in the Mahanidhana Sutta, the deepest point of the Dhamma. It explains the cycle of name, form, and cognition. So, because of this concept, this is because of this system, because of this cycle, the all beings conceive a real world and a concept of existing. I am living in a real world, but there is just a cognition. This movement means not the past, not the future. This movement means just a cognition without an owner, without an observer and observing thing. Just a empty cognition. Once you understand this, we can see a stanza in Kevatta Sutta in Digha Nikaya, the long length discourses. One monk has gained the supernatural powers. So he got a question. Where's the Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu? That means where's the four great elements will be seized. So he go to the all God realms, all heavens, And again he go to the Brahma worlds and ask from others where's the four great elements will ceased. Each and every one asking to ask from the next one, ask from the next one, like that way. So finally he went to the Mahabrahma, and Mahabrahma asked him to take him away. In that time he was in the meeting. So Mahabrahma told him to, I don't know the answer of this. Why did you came here? You can ask this question from Lord Buddha in Jetavana. Please go to him and ask from him. Then that monk went to the Lord Buddha's presence. So again he asked from the Lord Buddha where's the four great elements will ceased. In that time, Lord Buddha asked him to, this question I need to, this question is wrong. I need to change this question, and for that I will answer you. So the what is the changing of this question? Katha namancha rupancha says, Katha apocha patavi, tejo vayo nagatati, Katha dikancha rasancha, anuntulang subha subhang, Katha namancha rupancha asesang uparujjati. That is the changing. Katha Patavi Kata Apo Patavi Tejo Vayu Naghadati. Where's the place, the solidity, liquidity, temperature, and air will not find a footing. Where's the place will those find no footing? And Kata Dika Jarasan Chanuntulang Subha Subha. Where the long concepts of long, short, and gross and subtle, and pleasant and unpleasant, where's the place those concepts uh, will no find a footing. Kathanamacha rupancha asesanguparujjati. Where's the place the name and form will not manifest. So then Lord Buddha has given the answer, that is Vinyanang Anidassanang Anantang Sabbato Pabang Katha Apocha Patavi Tejo Vayo Nagadati Katha Dikajarasancha Anu Tulang Subha Subhang Katha Namancha Rupancha Ase Sang Uparujjati Vinyanasa Nirodhena Etetang Uparujjati. That means Vinyanang Anidassanang. The consciousness, cognition becomes non-manifest, non-reflective. Because always cognition means a reflection of name and form. But we can have a cognition without manifesting. How? By detached to the cognition. By understanding this movement, cognition, without an observer and without observing thing. Just an empty cognition. So Vijnana Anidasana, once the cognition becomes non-manifestive, Anantang Sabbatopaba, the endless, by the endless wisdom, endless light of illuminance of endless wisdom. Because in one sutta, Lord Buddha has explained, Chatasso ima bhikkhave paba, katame chatasso, chandapaba, suryapaba, agnipaba, prajnapaba. That means, dear monks, there is four types of lights, four types of luminances. What are those? The luminance of moon, the luminance of sun, the luminance of fire, and the luminance of wisdom. From those four, dear monks, the wisdom, the light of wisdom is the most greatest one. So Lord Buddha has given the synonym to the wisdom as a light, as a great illuminance. So once you make your cognition as non-manifestive by the endless light of wisdom, etha namanchuru, etha the apocha patavi tejo vayuna ghadati. In that place, there's the solidity, liquidity, temperature, and air will not find a footing. If you just have just a cognition, if you look at on table or chair or door or wall, there is just a cognition to you. The solidity or liquidity or things will not manifest in your cognition. It will not find a footing. And etha diganchara sancha anuntulang subha subha. In that place, uh, the concept of long, short, the concept of gross and subtle, the concept of inferior and superior, or pleasant or unpleasant, those will not find a footing. Because if you just, all things just a cognition to you without an observing thing, there is no idea about long, short. There is no any idea about, there is no any conceiving about subtle or gross. There is no any conceiving about pleasant or unpleasant. That's just a cognition. In that place, those concepts also will not find a footing. Etanamancha rupancha se samuparujyati. In that place, the name and form will disappear, remainlessly disappear. Without any remainlessly, name and form will disappear from your cognition. Name and form will not manifest in your cognition. Vijnanasa nirodhang samudaya
Bhante left झाले ते जॉईन होतील परत.
where recording got disconnected.
Audio disconnected Bhante.
Yes, which time? In that time, in what time what I was speaking about? That stanza.
Stanza is finished just 1 minute ago.
1 minute ago. Then okay. That means I talked about in that place there is by the cessation of the work of cognition, all things will not find a footing. All things will disappear by the cessation of cognition. By the once your cognition becomes non-manifestive, by the endless luminance of wisdom, this all problem will solve. So this is the work of the work of cognition is showing you the duality, the world and me, eye and visual, ear and sound. But the cognition also an effect of a cause. What is the cause? Name and form is the cause. Because of name and form, cognition. And by the cognition, again name and form. Again, because of name and form, again cognition. This is the cycle of cognition and name and form. So, however, now he understands this cognition also, not mine, not my soul. It's not under my control. So it's not myself. It is just a, if you feel, oh, what will happen when I go, when I die? It also just a cognition of the mind. Once your cognition becomes non-manifestive, once going to die, in that moment also, you may your karma will shows you a name and form about the next life, but your cognition now your cognition is non-manifestive. It will not conceive that name and form. It will not reflect that name and form. So that's why your cognition can't appear in another life. So your birth is finished from this very life. How it will happen? Lord Buddha explaining, dear monks, when a noble follower who has heard the truth see thus, he finds estrangement in body, he finds estrangement in sensations, and he finds estrangement in perceptions, like disgusting. Estrangement is I like disgusting about perceptions. He finds estrangement in volitional activities, and he finds estrangement in cognition, like disgusting in cognition. When he finds estrangement, Lord Buddha is explaining, nibbindang virajyati. When he finds estrangement, uh, passion fades out. He will detach to it. Viraga avimuchyati. With the fading of passion, he will liberated. He is liberated. Vimuttasmin vimuktimiti jnanam hoti. When liberated, there's a knowledge that he is liberated. How? Kina jati usitam brahmacharyang katang karaniyang naparang ittattati pajanati. How? He understands birth is exhaust. The holy life has been lived out. What can be done is done. Of this, there is no more beyond. He understands. So that is the way of the cessation of the cessation of suffering. That is what the Blessed One said. The monks were glad and they approved his words. So now during the utterance, the hearts of the monks of the group of 5 were liberated from ties of true clinging no more. These all 5 monks attain the arahantship by listening this sermon. So how it happened? Their whole mind be detached to the body, sensations, volitional activities, and cognition. And if you also can, if you listen this sermon very well, if you understand this very well, you also can attain the at least the stream entering by listening. If you understand, if you comprehend this very well. How? As a small exercise, you can close your eyes. You can look. You can contemplate on your feel of your body. Oh, this body is not my control. Abandon it to one side. I will abandon this body. It is not mine. And contemplate on sensations. Those are also not in my control. Those are not my abandon. I abandoning these sensations. Abandon it for another side. And abandon the perceptions also. Those also not mine. Abandon it. And the volitional activity is also not mine, not my control. Abandon it to another side. And the cognition also not myself. Abandon it to another side. Now these 5 clinging aggregates you abandon for 5 sides. Now look at your mind by the mind. See your mind by the mind. You will find some emptiness. This emptiness also, you just have a feeling and perception. Now contemplate on feeling. Yes, some pleasant or neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling is there. Oh, this is the feeling. Find the feeling. Oh, this is the called feeling. The sensation. This is the sensation. And understand. Oh, this is the perception of this. How I perceive this. How I perceive this sensation. Oh, this is the perception. You have to understand the perception clearly. This is the perception. Once you understand this, automatically your mind abandon those. But unless you can do it artificially, I'll abandon this sensation. You can abandon it again, and I'll abandon this perception. Abandon it again. Then again, look at your mind by the mind. So your mind maybe find an emptiness from this stage. This emptiness also impermanent. Within small time, it will be ceased. So if I think this is mine, this is my soul, this is myself, it is not appropriate. So this emptiness also a thought and mind. It is also just a cognition without an observer and without an observing thing. Just a cognition. Once you comprehend very well the emptiness also as just a cognition, your mind will find a stilling of all preparations. That's we called Nibbana. Nibbana can be experienced by to the by the stream enterer in his level, the once returner in his level, by his level, the non-returner by according to his level, and the arahant according to his level. The Nibbana's definition is etang samtang etang panitang yadidang sabba sankhara samato sabbupatipatini sakko tanakhayo virago nirodho Nibbana. This is peaceful, this is excellent, namely the stilling of all preparations, the relinquishment of all assets, the destruction of craving, detachment, cessation, extinction. If you abandon these all, that's just a stilling of all preparations. The relinquishment of all 5 linking aggregates. That is the cessation of existence. There's no any idea anymore about world and me. So I bless you all to feel the fearfulness of samsara and do more effort to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana in this very life. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Very well explained, Bhante. Can you take questions, answers?
Okay, can ask.
कोणाचे काही प्रश्न असतील ते विचारू शकता. Bhante, I will ask some questions. Okay, you used the term
Yes.
consciousness in place of this cognition. So, is there any specific reason for that?
Sorry, please ask again.
You used the term cognition for consciousness.
Yes, I use
So,
usually cognition for the word of consciousness here.
many of the books refer as consciousness. So, you
Yes.
used cognition. So, any specific reason for that?
I will tell you I'll tell you the Pali definition of vijnana. Vijnana means no, some people use cognition, some people use consciousness. How the vijnana mean there is the jnana mean there's a prefix and a stem. There is vi vijnana vijnana. V and jnana, V plus jnana, we combine as vijnana. So jnana means jnana means uh, jnana means a subject. Jnana means a name. Uh, what is the stem of the word jnana? Stem is janati. Janati means
Yes,
understands.
understands.
Understands is the stem. So the name is under, uh, understanding. Then jnana means understanding.
Mm.
Then V means a prefix about specially, superficially, specially understanding. Specially
Mm.
understanding, we called vijnana,
Right.
special understanding. The special understanding, Lord Buddha explained in Kaljaniya Sutta, uh, vijanati vijanati ko bhikkhave tasma vijnanati bujjati. Vijanati, especially especially understands because we called vijnana.
Mm.
In Kajaniya Sutta, he explains like that. So specially understand called specially understanding. That is the explanation. So
Mm.
another sutta he is explaining what we specially understand. Especially understand eye and visual, especially understand ear and sound, especially understand nose and smell, especially understand tongue and taste, especially understand the body and tangible, especially understand the thought and mind. So this is the explanation. Um, so especially understand this duality. Uh, that is the work of cognition or consciousness. Uh, I feel rather familiar the translation of cognition to this Pali languageable explanation rather than consciousness. Maybe because by the word of consciousness, people can think as something like that. Consciousness mean a thing or energy in what something located in somewhere.
Mm.
But Lord Buddha is explaining, specially understanding is the vijnana. Then the cognition is the uh, vijnana. Cognizing is the vijnana. Uh, so you can take a decision. What will feels you rather familiar, consciousness or cognition? To my side, I feel the cognition is better, but uh, anyone can think anything. Yes.
So, cognitions of all human being and animals are same. Bhante?
The cognitions are arisen because of name and form, the nama rupa.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, what
In,
what
in,
what what comes to them?
in this regard, one more question. So,
Uh-huh.
Lord Buddha used term Namarupa and 5 khandas also. So only intention and contact is added to 5 khandas.
Yes.
So do he meant to say that 5 khandas are continuous with life and birth, or only Namarupa extinguishes? Why is used two terms?
No. There's a 5 khandas mean 5 khandas mean not a one thing. There is aggregate. Aggregate mean not one aggregate. Arising and passing. So because cause and effect, nothing else. Because there he's explaining the Dhamma in different ways in different people. So one term he tried to explain as dependent origination. Sometimes he tried to explain while with as a name and form. Sometimes he tried to explain by 5 linking aggregates. Sometimes he tried to explain by 6 sense spaces. Sometimes he tried to explain as six dhatus, shad dhatu. Sometimes he tried to explain like 12 dhatus. Sometimes 18 dhatus. Sometimes 36 dhatus. So in different ways, he tried to emphasize the same thing. That is, the world is an illusion.
Okay.
The same
Got
thing.
it.
So at the 5 khandas explanation, he used to explain as once someone feel self. He explaining, oh, there's no self, because if you have to take as yourself, there is only 5 things: the body, sensation, perception, volitional activities, and consciousness. And those are not under your control, then there is nothing you can gain as yourself. So that is the the 5 khandas side aspect. And the name and form aspect always focused on the dependent origination and the work and the present movement, and it's explained about the preparating of present movement. Uh, Name and form mean also a cognition.
Okay.
Name and form means just a family aggregates. The form mean the rupa kanda. Uh,
Right.
the sensation, perceptions, volitional activities mean vedana, sanya, sankhara.
Right.
Then name and form means a cognition. Uh, then then rupa kanda, vedana kanda, sanya kanda, sankhara kanda. The addition of these 4 things mean vijnana kanda.
Right.
Addition of body, the addition of form, sensation, perception, volitional activities mean a cognition. So that is the vijnana kanda. The same thing, but
Yes.
different aspects.
Okay. Okay. Very well. Thank you. So one hand raise. Unmute kara.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ven Bhante, I wanted to ask you about, you spoke about volitional activities. So what are sankharas basically? So are they volitional actions or are they volitional reactions? And from their point on, what becomes vidya and what becomes avidya?
Sorry, you ask what is volitional activities? What
Yeah.
are volitional
Yes, you
activities?
spoke about volitional activities. So I wanted to know whether sankharas are volitional reactions or volitional actions. I mean, what is the difference between? And
Sankhara.
yes.
Yes, I will explain the word of sankhara. Sankhara, we have several explanations in Dhamma. In one aspect, sankhara means punyabi sankhara, apunyabi sankhara, and ananjabi sankhara. It's in merit preparation and demerit preparations, and the higher concentratable levels preparations. So those are one aspect. Another aspect is the kaya sankhara, vachi sankhara, chitta sankhara, the preparations of body, mind, and speech. Those are the another aspect. The deepest aspect in Kajjaniya Sutta, in Sutta Pitaka, it explains like this: Katamaja Bhikkhve Sankhara. What is bhikkhu's sankhara? What is bhikkhu's preparations? he given the answer, Sankatang abhisankaranti bhikkhave tasma sankarati vuchanti. The preparated thing, preparating again and again, because that we called preparations. I'll explain. Then he again explains how it's preparating. Rupang rupattaya sankatang abhisankuranti. Vedanang vedanattaya sankatang abhisankuranti. Sanyang sanyattaya sankatang abhisankuranti. Sankaresu sankaranattaya sankatang abhisankuranti. Vijnanang vijnanattaya sankatang abhisankuranti. That means uh, now I'll give an example. Now you can conceive my sound as Bhante's sound. Well, now you think Bhante's sound. But this sound is a sankatang. That means preparated one. Why? Once the addition of my sound and your ear, there is just a cognition. But after this cognition, after a work as a work of this cognition, it preparated. It shows, it conceives your duality. There's an independent sound, Bhante sound, and the person who's listening. So the mind knowing sound and ear, sound and eye is preparated. The cognition arises with the addition of sound and ear, but the mind knowing sound and person, sound and the person who is listening is preparated by the mind. Did you understand that?
Yeah, I understood this much.
Then this is preparated. Then the explanation is sankatang abhisankaranti. The sankatang mean then in this example, my sound. You conceive Bhante's sound as Bhante's sound. Oh, that is sankatang. Sankatang abhisankaranti bhikkhave. Preparating again and again, called as preparations. Then again he explains how. Rupang rupattaya sankatang abhisankaranti. By the body to the form to form again preparating. That means now you conceive my sound as a thing. Then you again preparating my sound as things. Bhante sound, Bhante sound, Bhante sound. You cling to my sound, and again, and as a work of and again you cling. You think, you conceive the preparated sensation, Vedanang Vedanattaya. Then you prepared to cling another sensations again and again as things. That means you understand, you feel the sensations again and again as things. And then again the perceptions also again and again preparating. The volitional activities also, that is the deepest point. The volitional activities also again and again preparating. That means you understand my sound. Oh, Bhante is speaking like that. These things, these concepts. So you think those ideas as independent. Then if you conceive as independent, those are preparated. So by this preparation, you again preparating. That normally your human mindset, human mindset and human thinking, we can call it as preparations. And the vijnana sankatang abhisankaranti, then the cognition, if you conceive a cognition also as a thing, then you expecting another cognitions, and you conceive those as your soul, as yourself, as an independent things. So that is the deepest explanation. If I again tell it in a shortened form, I can tell like this. Preparations mean a cycle of sensation and perceptions. As an example, now you can see a beautiful girl or handsome boy. Someone see that kind of person, then the addition of sound, addition of visual and eye, there's a cognition. But after that, if he conceive those as things, as that visual as a thing, then he may conceive the sensation also. Then he again prepared the sensation. Oh, sensation as thing. Oh, very pleasant. Then again, because of that sensation, he again perceive. Oh, this sensation comes from that visual. So because of that, it again preparing the sensations, preparing the perceptions to gain that sensation. How her nose is very nice, and again he making a pleasant sensation, and again preparing some ideas. Oh, uh, uh, her lips are very beautiful. Then again he feeling sensations, and like that way, preparations, perception, and sensations, a cycle. For the cycle of perception and sensations, we can tell as sankhara. We can tell as the preparation in the shortened form. It
So
is
when
really,
we,
yes.
yeah, I just want to know, like, so when we remain equanimous, for example, so do we like reduce our preparations as well?
We
So
have
how
to.
do we stop these preparations?
We can reduce the preparations by the right vision. For that right vision, I preach in the Dhamma. How understand, abandon the past, abandon the future, and detach to the present moment also. Uh, this present moment also just a cognition, but not a conceiving. Cognition means without an observer and without an observing thing. So for that, Lord Buddha explains the Satipatthana meditations to comprehend well this. How, as a little example, in Satipatthana Sutta, there's a meditation called Salayatana, the mindfulness in six sense bases. In that six sense bases meditation, he is telling, uh, understand, Chakkuncha pajanati, rupecha pajanati. He asking to insight. Oh, this is the eye, this is the visual. Oh, this is the sound, this is the ear. Once you hearing, experiencing my sound, you can insight. Oh, this is the sound, this is the ear. Oh, not an independent ear and sound. The conceiving about mind, conceiving of mind about ear and sound. Once you insight the ear and sound in this way, your mind will automatically understand this is just a cognition without an observing person, observing thing. In lots of the plenty of ways Lord Buddha has explained in Satipatthana Sutta, how can we reduce, how can we attain the right, how can we stable the right vision by several ways. In so you need to listen the pure Dhamma and understand, come to the right vision, and you need to, that is the starting point of Dhamma. Not the right mindfulness or right concentration is not the starting point of Dhamma. In according to Sammaditthi Sutta, the right vision is the only place we can start the Dhamma. And after that, we have to be moral. We have to protect the virtue. Then after that, we have to do the effort. So after that, we have to stable our mindfulness, and the stable mindfulness we can talk as right concentration. Right ability is again overheating will.
But then no audio.
Yes. Is it enough?
Yes, it's clear. Right. Thank you very much, Bhante.
Okay.
Very well explained, Bhante. Seems.
Again, message comes within 20 seconds. Zoom app will close. Then
Okay.
I'll go with this. Okay.
Okay.
Then may the noble triple gems bless you all. Sadhu.
Bless. Thank you, Bhante. Thank you for your precious time.